For a long time, I didn't feel comfortable living out my Christian life on campus. It was very difficult.
When I came to campus, I was an atheist. And the University of Wisconsin-Madison is ranked in the top of universities, even in the world. Madison is often described as 20 square miles surrounded by reality. This university is even more so.
Once I recognized that the university didn't care about my constitutional rights as a student, I had to look elsewhere. I was born and raised in New Lisbon, Wisconsin. I grew up in a United Methodist church that was founded by a family member back in the 1800s, and was able to eventually go to college at the University of Wisconsin at Madison. I graduated from there in 1994, and then went on to law school at UW-Madison and graduated from there in 1997. When I got to college and I began to look at where God was calling me, I recognized that to make a change for the hearts and minds of people in the public policy arena, law school's where I needed to go.
Everyone knows this university is so incredibly secular. There is such a tendency on this university to clamp down and to push out any thought, any whisper, any hint of religion.
During college and then into my first year of law school, I became very frustrated that the University of Wisconsin was requiring me, as a condition of getting my degree, to pay money in order to support organizations that I found repugnant.
The University of Wisconsin required all students to pay this mandatory fee that funded pro-abortion groups, homosexual activist groups.
Almost all public universities requires the students to contribute funds to a student fee program. This is not tax money, this is not tuition money, this is an over and above fee.
They couldn't opt out. If they tried to transfer to a different school, they'd have to pay the fee before their grade transcript would be released.
I wanted to see my money go to organizations that espoused my Christian beliefs, my political conservative beliefs. We were able to stop the association from effectively collecting these fees. But the left-wing administration brought up the association again and began to fund all these radical organizations. Once I recognized that the university didn't care about my constitutional rights as a student, I had to look elsewhere. The day that I called ADF, I remember I was alone at the University of Wisconsin, and I just reached out for help because I didn't know where else to turn.
I was a sole practitioner working out of the basement of my house in Northern Virginia. Scott was this small town law student.
And I was just so blessed to have somebody first listen to me, and second, respond by acknowledging that my constitutional rights were being violated.
We filed in federal district court in Madison on behalf of Scott Southworth and two others against the Board of Regents and various officials, saying that their policy of requiring the compelled funding violated the First Amendment.
Tiny little budget, tiny little staff, tiny little ministry, challenging a giant.
We had a lot of opposition from the groups that were being funded that realized if they have to now go justify payments they were receiving, a lot of students would choose not to donate money.
When one person stands up in a respectful voice and asserts their constitutional rights, they can expect that the left is going to rise up.
Increasing levels of panic began to set in at University of Wisconsin officials, as well as university officials around the country, as we kept going up the ladder of the lower courts and winning. What was coming out of Wisconsin with the Southworth case was a huge earth tremor, and the universities felt the earth shaking as the case got up to the U.S. Supreme Court. This was a fulfillment of a dream to finally have a case before the U.S. Supreme Court on such a significant issue. There's a lot more going on than when the case is at a lower court level. You really are in the Super Bowl.
Hearing my name called by then Chief Justice William Rehnquist was one of the greatest honors of my life.
There was definitely some skepticism among some of the justices. Justice Souter, Justice Stevens, they were not real moved by what I had to say.
All the reporters were there, all the experts were predicting how the case was going to go out. I had no idea how the justices would vote. I didn't know if we would win it or lose it.
The opinion came down in March of 2000, and it was 9-0 against us.
I was really, gotta tell you, very shocked.
That was difficult to read, that they had reversed what the appeals court did.
The left-wing students and administrators at the university started celebrating almost immediately.
In a couple of hours, we had a physical copy. We began to read what the court had done.
If you just looked at the surface, that looks like a total crushing of us. But that really was not exactly the case.
Though they reversed the lower court of appeals, what they said was, while there's not an absolute constitutional right to object to paying your fees, every student has the right to demand that the university disperse the fees in a viewpoint neutral manner. And that was a major victory.
This was a real example for me, and it really helped our team understand, trust God, stay with the plan. And I can't tell you what this case meant in terms of that lesson that's probably now led our team to be involved in more than 100 victories involving major colleges and universities, because we learned you can do it.
It has become a powerful weapon to basically get schools to back down from these unconstitutional funding policies.
It demonstrates the power that one Supreme Court case can have and the impact that it can have across the nation.
Ultimately, what this case led to, along with a few others, was Alliance Defending Freedom's University Project, which has had such an incredible impact in upholding the rights of Christians to be Christian on major university campuses.
The people I met here resulted in my conversion and the total reshaping of my life.
It allows me to be an individual and to truly be myself, when before I felt like I needed to fit in.
Having a student org on campus that allows students to get involved, to have a voice, is extremely important, because without it, I don't know that I would have been led to where I am. I don't know that I'd be the person that I am today.
At the end of the day, our cause was not about $13 in student fees. It was about ensuring that Christian students had the same rights on public university campuses as every other student. What's important about Alliance Defending Freedom is that they're that first step in supporting that one voice that's willing to stand up in the wind and say, this is wrong. It empowers Christians not only at the University of Wisconsin, but all over the place. And that Christian community has a voice through ADF.